Lee Judges TV, look where we are. It's the Emirates. Arsenal are back and they're playing West Ham United. And because we're playing West Ham, I've got my mate Nick, West Ham TV. How are you?
I'm good, Lee. I'm good. We've done a lot of work over
We've done a lot of work
yeah.
over the. Me and Nick have been doing a lot of work over the World Cup on DR Sports. So we thought we'd come down to the Emirates today, do a little bit of both on both channels.
At least it ain't as cold as last week.
No, it's not as cold. Like, and just as well, like I've had to wait around an hour for you guys. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
There's no parking here. You can't park your car anywhere.
So here we go. West Ham. I'm going to be really honest. I'm a little bit nervous because of the Jesus situation, but is it a perfect time to be playing West Ham at this moment in time? You know, not as good as what I thought West Ham were going to be this season, Nick. I'll be honest.
I think, Lee, we've been atrocious, mate, and I think that's been kind to us. We've been atrocious. Yeah, we've been absolutely diabolical this year. I think we've got real issues with the belief of the players, whether they believe their manager can take them further than what he's took them. We've had a couple of good seasons, and I know it sounds like a lot of us are just moaning, and sort of I know a couple of the bigger clubs are saying, "Oh, you just get back in your place and know your place and all that sort of thing." But I think when you have a couple of good seasons and you do really well, and your players are playing as well as they can, I think you're entitled to feel a little bit of, you set the bar there. You know what I mean? We know he can do that. We know, and for me, he hasn't evolved.
So you haven't moved up. You haven't moved on.
No, we haven't moved on, and I think the players are feeling that, Lee. I really do. I think the players are feeling the same thing. Like, we bought all of these new players. It's hard for players to settle in the Premier League. It is, absolutely, but from the get-go, he's bought all these players. He's gone out and played exactly the same way as we have for the last 2 years, which he's got excuses for, some poor results, because you always thought, yeah, he's a little bit short of players here and he's doing the best he can. But I think that's when Moyes falls down, Lee, is when he's got a choice.
Yeah, he's now got a big enough squad to try and compete.
We can play a couple of ways if we wanted. We've got different players, different positions to do different things. And he just keeps on going with the same thing. And that's the thing about football, isn't it? If you keep on doing the same things over and over and over again, you're going to get found out eventually. So, yeah, we've been diabolical. The only thing I would say is, for us, is that we don't know what's going to come back here. Yeah. We don't know what's going to come back to the London Stadium. We don't know what sort of state we're in. Arsenal were going all guns blazing, excuse the pun, but, who knows? It might have halted it. It might have fueled it. Who knows? You know what I mean? It's just
that's it. It is the unknown. For me, I'm going to be really honest. If after that Wolves game, if Arsenal then were coming to play West Ham at home, I would have been confident. But as you say, you just don't know how the players are going to come back. From our point of view now, we've got no Jesus. Also, we don't know what's going to happen with Saliba, whether he's coming back or not. He's been a fantastic player for us.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we could be without two of our key players. And if you look at those two key players, they were making the difference. They've made a difference to the team this season, to last season. There have been two players that have come in and have been fantastic. They might not be about. So that's why I'm worried about this game. But what from a West Ham point of view, what have you made of Arsenal?
I think they've been fantastically. I've always appreciated the way Arsenal play football. They try and play football the right way, and we traditionally try and do the same, although not always with the results. But we like football playing teams, and Arsenal have always been a good football playing team. Lost your way over the last 15 years. I think that's a fair thing to say, but you can see something happening at Arsenal, and sometimes it takes all the stars to align. You've got a manager that comes along that has got a clear philosophy. You have to give him a bit of time. He's learnt from the best at the end of the day. He's been the understudy to the best. And I know a few people questioned him when he first come in, because as football fans, we all want instant success and we all want it to work straight away. But you've got a balance of talent that you've got coming through, which, Saliba is an excellent player. Saka is, I think, touching world class now.
Yeah.
I really do. I think he's really shown himself, especially during that World Cup, what he really can do. And a few people would doubt him and maybe not have seen as much of him. I think he's a real difference now. But you've got the likes of players that was already there that had sort of lost their way. like the likes of Xhaka, coming back into their own and, finding their confidence back under the manager and things like that, where, a couple of seasons ago, you'd have thought he was finished.
Yeah.
When he was coming off and he was swearing at the crowd and all that, and people were saying, get him out of the club, he's no good. And you've got that nice balance. And I think with a couple of the signings you've got, like Jesus, belief has come back into this squad. And I'm not shocked to see them top of the league at the moment, Lee. I'm not shocked because they've been playing, I believe, the best football I've seen this season.
I honestly think that those first 14 games, we was better than City. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying over the long haul that's the case, but over those first 14 games, we was definitely the better side, playing a better football, looking the better team. They were struggling a little bit towards the end.
City are a phenomenon, Lee.
Yeah.
And I tell you what I think what's going to work in Arsenal's favour this year. Now, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say, you're going to win the league or anything like that. But what I think has happened to Manchester City is that they had such a philosophy of playing, and although Jesus probably didn't pop up with as many goals as sort of Pep would have liked, and the likes of Sterling as well, they've let them go, and they've become very reliant on Haaland, who is phenomenal. But the problem is that what I found towards the end of it, Haaland went off the boil a little bit, and that means City went off the boil a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like they wasn't getting the results like a couple of seasons past. They would have just ground them results out. They're such a confusing team to play against because all of them front three just rotated.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know what you was coming up against from minute 10 to minute 30. Whereas now, Haaland is the focal point, and it gives the teams around them, right, focus on him, and then we've got a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's Man City's problem, and I think Arsenal are. The stars are aligning for something.
Listen, we hope so. But like the one thing that I think that is the big problem for us is Jesus. But I do think you're right what you're saying. Arsenal are a team, and Arsenal now got to prove that by we're missing Jesus, but it doesn't matter. We've people go on about injuries and everything. We've had other players out this season, and we've been able to cope. But this is a big one for us to cope. So just quickly get a prediction. What do you think is going to happen? Come Boxing Day at 8 o'clock.
I'm coming here, obviously.
Yeah.
I want to turn around and say I think West Ham will win 2-0, but I think I'd be a fool if I'd said that. I want to go with my heart, but my head, I can't see us getting anything out of this game. I really can't. I watched a friendly from West Ham last week, and I was hoping that Moyes would take the break to sort of start rethinking the philosophy of football. We came into the break on the back of 3 home defeats, which were really poor defeats, Leicester, Crystal Palace and Blackburn. And the thing that frustrated me as a fan is that we was just doing the same things and expecting to get different results. I watched a Fulham friendly last week and he was doing exactly the same things. I think this could be a heavy defeat here, and if he don't pick up a result in the next few weeks, I think he might be gone.
Listen, heavy defeat. I would listen from an Arsenal point of view. I think Arsenal need to win and win big, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think that Arsenal probably will just sneak it 1 or 2-0. So I'm going to go say 2-0. But you don't know with this World Cup break, so we'll have to wait.
Yes, it's all unknown, mate.
All unknown. Nick, thanks for joining us.
Lee, pleasure.
Listen. Check out West Ham TV, they're a good bunch of boys on there, and let's hope for a very, very good game, and let's hope the 3 points is coming our way, not theirs. Come on, you Gunners.